Hey, what's up? Wow, big crew. Good morning, Marmalade on the PCT. What's up, everybody? Excited as always to be on trail. I try to keep this shorter than longer. It is, let's go date, time, temperature, all that stuff. I started at 6:52 at the terminus. I left my car at Mount Laguna. I was picked up by an amazing trail angel, Ghost. Thank you so much when you see this. Great guy, retired. He just helps out hikers every year. And so driving off at 6:52, and it is April 21st. And as I said, I left my car at Mount Laguna. I'm starting at the terminus, obviously, but I'm going to do 2.5 days out here. I'm going to do 20 miles today to Lake Morena. I haven't been hiking much, so that'll be fun. About 12 or 13 to Summit Flats tomorrow, camp, and then about 9 or 10 to my car at Mount Laguna. It was about 35, 40 degrees when I started, but we are starting today, of course, a heat wave for about 3 days. It's going to be around 80, which is hot for this time of year, but nice at night, about 50 to 53 degrees. So, as you may have saw there too, I stopped by. If you're ever going to do the PCT, Cleef/Camp Lockett is about 0.5 miles down from the terminus, and every year it gets better and better. But I know Dee and Paul, and they run the Southern Terminus Shuttle Company or service that takes hikers from San Diego to REI to get their gas canisters and gear, and then out to Camp Cleef to camp so they can get up in the morning and start hiking. So they do a wonderful service, and they asked me when I saw them the other day in REI to come by and say hi. So I did that. Man, they had at least 15 or more thru hikers get ready to start. So it's always exciting to see people about to kind of fulfill their dreams. But yeah, so today it's going to be brutal. Like I said, it's going to be 80 degrees at about 1 o'clock, which would be close to, and maybe a little after that, I'll have to go up Hauser Canyon. So there's plenty of water on the trail because of this winter we've had. So what's nice is I don't have to carry as much water, but yeah, I haven't been hiking, so it'll be interesting to do 20 miles when I haven't been hiking, but I know the section by heart. It's probably my 15th time doing it. So right now I'm carrying a little water in my chest. It's just a 700 milliliter bottle, and it'll take me the 4.4 miles to the first water source. And then Hauser Creek is flowing, first time since I went in 19. So it was nice to have some water out here, not have to carry so much weight in water. But kind of funny, the trail comes from up there onto the road for about, I don't know, quarter, half a mile, and then back into the dirt. But that's it. I can't wait to get out there, testing out my new tent. My pack's pretty empty. It's amazing. With the 700 milliliters of water, my food, everything in my pack, it was only 16 pounds. So I'm getting there. I bought a bigger of the 2-size batteries, so that's a little heavier. So that's extra weight I may not have in the future. But yeah, that's it. Can't wait to show you the trail. A lot of flowers right now, so you know I love flowers. So let's get this hike on and see what we can see. All right, a little update. That water you saw there was at mile 4.4. I only carried 700 milliliters to get there because it's very cruisy all the way there. Always check far out at, but almost every year that's running at least for a while. It's extra huge this year, of course, because of all the snow and rain we had. But yeah, I cameled up. I got about 1.5 liters. I'm trying to refine this so I don't carry too much water. There's supposed to be rivulets, you know, little small seasonal streams going across the trail all over the place. So I grabbed my hiking poles. You don't really need them until there unless you need them. But I grabbed them now because it's probably about the next 3 or 4 miles is either gradually, and there's one little climb in there, so uphill. So that's why I have my poles. I mostly use them for uphill. Every once in a while, if it's steep down, I'll use them for balance. But for the most part, I kind of enjoy walking sometimes without them. So anyway, it's real rocky here. I just wanted to give you an update. Making good time. I ate something, got water. I cameled up, put some electrolytes in my water right here. And that trail's a little overgrown here. But now it's time to earn it. We're going to kind of work our way out of this valley and up and out of the mountains. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm a little out of breath. I'm at mile marker 11.4. I want to show you, it's kind of a big open area. There's some like small ones in there, but a big group. This is very popular on the first day, especially on days like this where it's really, really hot. Yeah, a good spot for you to stop if you only have about 11 miles in you. But let me turn this around. So a little update. This wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't so hot. As I said, I'm not in shape. So, you know, doing 20 miles is becoming daunting, but my plan right now is 11.4 miles. When you get past that campsite we just left, it's pretty much flat or downhill the next exact 4 miles, because we're at 11.4 and Hauser Creek is 15.4. So it's rather steep. We get kind of nearer Hauser Creek, but I'm gonna take a decent break. I've only taken 2 small ones. One was for water. Well, actually both were for water. I haven't hardly eaten anything, which is standard for me, the hiking, but the heat takes it out of me. But well, I saw my first sight of Hauser Canyon. Would have to go up today, but it is 12:24. I'd love to get to camp around 5:30, maybe 6. I can set up, just sit down and relax just for a couple minutes. And we walk over and get a burger at the deli. So that's my plan right now. We get the Hauser in the shade and then relax. So we got mostly flatter downhill and a little bit of a road walk. And that's it for now, okay? All right, let's do this.
You want my powers, I will show you where they go. You like the wind, I'll tell you where it goes. Clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go, yeah. You need my energy, I'll show you where to go. You want the rivers, let me show you where they flow. Clean as you go, clean as you go, clean as you go. You want the highest building in your town. Where's my trees? I don't see them around here no more. You wanna go to Mars, but the soil is full of mercury. Keep my water clean, free from PVC. How many pieces of plastic in the Tennessee River? I hope this makes you see things clearer.
I eat a cracker.
Nice. All right, guys, I'll see you up the hill.
Yeah.
Up the hill, man.
Who's going with me?
Nope. I'll be behind you.
It's quiet. All right, now time to climb, baby. Hey guys, I'm almost at mile 17. Lake Moreno is mile 20. I've still got about 400 more feet to climb. It's so hot, it's dangerous, exceptionally dangerous. It's gotta be 85, straight up. The worst part, until the last half hour, there's been no wind whatsoever. I can tell I'm sweating bullets, but it's evaporating. I haven't peed in 4 hours, so I know it's bad. I've got a little over half a liter. Should go about a half a mile to where the water is. There's a seasonal stream going, I guess. And then only a little bit more uphill before it's flat and cruisy down to the camp. So sorry about this. I don't feel good.
Yeah, it got a little warm. It's supposed to be even worse today.
And just like that, I decided to cut my hike short. Well, I got to go over what happened. You may have seen a little bit of that play out, but I'm always have been a proponent of listening to your body and making sure you're smart. If you follow me at all, you know I figured out I've been hiking about 7 years or so, working on my 8th year, and I've got at least 8,000 miles, so at least 1,000 miles a year with all my through hikes and long distance hikes and weekend hikes and all that together. And I've only experienced what I experienced one other time, and it was at the kind of surprisingly or not surprisingly at the exact same place as it happened before about, I don't know, 6 years ago. But as you can see in the video, I felt great. It was cooler in the morning. It was going to be a hot one around 80. One of the hardest things all day was I was completely exposed, almost zero shade, and no breeze almost at all. And so it just, as it got warmer and warmer, and you have to understand too, when I got to Hauser Creek there, I showed you at the mile 15.4, I felt okay. You know, I was tired. I haven't been hiking much, so that's part of my issue, but I haven't been hiking much. But I've done this whole section probably 15 times, and this is probably the 8th, the 10th time I've tried to do the whole 20 miles. I did this exact same hike last year and made it no problem. I mean, I was tired, but I made it no problem. But I run hot, and the heat was just suffocating, to say the least. So when I got to Hauser Creek, I sat around a bunch of hikers, and I even told them, because they were all asking me, they were surprised I was going to keep going. I said, well, yeah, if I was through hiking like I did on my through hike, I would be doing the 15 miles stop, even if it didn't matter. It was only like 2:30. So even if it was early, that's what I did to make sure that I got got my trail legs, but also got used to being out in the conditions and the heat and all that stuff you're going to deal with. And so because I have 2.5 days and I'm on a schedule to get back to Mount Laguna, which was it's supposed to be a 20-mile day that first day, and then about 12, but quite a bit uphill to Civets Flat, and then about 9 or 10 up to my car. So I had it figured out just like I did last year pretty well, but I drank a bunch of water. I mean, I bet you on the whole 20 miles I drank almost 10 liters of water. And I don't drink a ton of water, but I did. And there was lots of water flowing because of our winter. But I was there telling everybody, yeah, I think I'm going to keep going. I drank a bunch of water, a bunch of electrolytes. But one of the problems I had was normally when I'm hiking, it's not hot. I lose my appetite, but I still eat. I ate a little apple pie that I had that I threw in my pack. I ate a banana before I started, like 5 in the morning. And then when I started at 7, I had a little apple pie at the first water source, which was mile 4.4, and I didn't eat a thing all day. So I normally lose my appetite, but the heat literally zapped it. I tried to pull my food out 3 or 4 times, and I could not force it down. So I know that attributed to what I experienced, but I'm going to tell you guys, it got very, very dangerous. So when I left, you know, I was hydrated and I was sitting in the shade. So when I left to do this, it's about almost 3 miles, very steep uphill, and then about a mile of kind of roly-poly, some up, some down, and then about 1.5 miles down to Lake Morena. So I started going up, and I'm not lying, about a third of the way up, I started to go downhill fast. And I don't mean literally downhill, but downhill health-wise. It was very scary. I kept thinking there's a young man that died on that hill that was only like 18 or 19. He died probably 6 or 7 years ago from the same thing. And basically it got worse and worse and worse. And I was drinking water. I knew something was wrong. So I feel I got 2 things. I got severe dehydration, severe dehydration, and heat exhaustion. And so how I know is it was exceptionally hot, and I wasn't I could feel like I was sweating, but nothing was wet. So I was evaporating, or I wasn't sweating at all, which is bad. Heat exhaustion, I wrote down a couple of the symptoms. These are the ones I had. Faintness, dizziness. I had exceptional fatigue. Like my body just started to stop working completely. Muscle cramps, lots of soreness, nausea. I got a major headache while I was doing it, and it says you sweat heavy, but I could tell that I was trying to sweat, but nothing was coming out, or it was evaporating before I could even do anything. But so one of the things was the weather. So yes, it was warm, 80 degrees or whatever, but I think when you look at 20 miles, if this climb was at the beginning, I would have been fine. But I already had about 9 hours of sun exposure and great effort to get there in time. I was trying to get to Lake Morena at a certain time, and so I was already fairly worn out, but it was so hot on this climb. I think we got close to 90 instead of 80, And I talked to the person you saw at the very end that gave me a ride. He got me a ride back from Lake Morena up to my car because I physically I almost couldn't stand up, let alone hike. But he told me he's lived there almost his whole life, and he said, yeah, that it's almost like a convection oven. He said that valley, and the reason why it's so hot and dangerous is that it radiates, it reflects somehow. He says it's much hotter on that hillside, and it's also in the setting sun is directly on you. And also probably the most brutal part was there was zero wind, zero. And of course, when I got to the top, to the part that was flatter and then started to go down, it got to be a nice breeze. So I was on the side of the mountain that had no breeze. And so I don't know how to explain how I felt. It's probably the worst I've ever felt hiking. And I don't, to this day, know how I made it. You've probably seen in some of the clips, I mean, I'm not doing well at all. I could barely talk. I could barely put sentences together. It was hard I was staggering towards the end. And I'm really lucky. I kept thinking about that kid. I don't know who he is, and I'm sure somebody here will tell me, but I've heard the stories all about it way back when I started, and I just thought about it. I said, if I was, the problem too, what I had was I could have stopped halfway up. There was campsites along the way, but I was trying to get to Lake Morena because I had friends coming the next morning. It's not their fault or anything, it's my fault, but they were gonna meet me there and hike the rest of the way with me. So I wanted to make sure I got to camp. I also wanted a hamburger, selfishly at the deli malt shop, and I wanted to camp there and just get set, because then if I stop way short, then I have a lot bigger day the next day, and I wasn't feeling good. So I thought, well, I better get further camp, and then in the morning I won't have as far to go, even if I don't feel great. But I went downhill fast, and I mean, I had a hard time. I'm trying out my new tent that I just did a review on. I couldn't tell you much about it. I set it up in the dark. I didn't set it up very well, but I didn't care. I wanted to go to sleep. It seemed to work okay, but I'm not going to give my opinion on it until I can actually try it in normal conditions. But yeah, I went to bed late, slept near a snore, so it kept me up all night. And so I arranged for somebody who happened to be going up to pick up my friends at Mount Laguna he lives by the campground. So they picked me up. He picked me up, took me up there, and I was done. So yesterday, this is 2 days after the hike. Yesterday, I was pretty much comatose, in bad shape. I slept a lot of hours during the day. I hydrated a lot, then slept most of the night pretty hard. And so today is like I said, 2 days later, and I feel much better. I'm probably only halfway to being normal, but it's I think it was a combination of everything. But with that climb being at the end is what did me in. So I appreciate you watching. I'm always honest. You guys know I'm honest. I have conquered and done every hike I pretty much wanted to do. But this happened to me about 7-8 years ago when I first, no, not 8 years, 6 years ago when I first started on the same hill. And we were doing, it was my first long trip ever, and it was gonna be 7 days all the way to Warner Springs. But that first day, the way it was structured, you had to get to Lake Morena, and I got heat stroke, and you have like a fog or dizziness, like when I was at camp, like a couple nights ago. It's like you can hear people talking and stuff, but you just aren't all there, and inside. And I knew I was bad off, but I'm smart enough, and despite my pride, which is very strong, that's part of the reason why I went up that hill all the way. But when I was reasonable and thinking clearly or semi-clearly, I decided I better not keep going. So I apologize, the video's not longer, you can't see the rest of the trail, but I'm sure you understand. But I want to be honest with you, because these are things you need to pay attention to. When I always have said in past videos to research your hikes and the weather and things like that. You have to know that. It's not just for the right clothing, but is it going to be crazy hot? That's why on the PCT, when they go later, when it's really, really hot, you have to get up super early and dark and hike till 10 or 11, then take a siesta all day, and then maybe 3 or 4 o'clock hike for 5 or 6 hours. You still get your miles in, but you have to be smart about it. So I knew it would be warm, but I didn't know it would be that warm, and it just literally seared my brain till I was loopy. So anyway, thanks for watching. Sorry this is kind of long, but I wanted to share with you and be honest, and I hope you appreciate that. And like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed this content. I'm going to be getting out there pretty soon. I need to recover from this, but next week I have some time off. I think I'm going to get out there again and do a section. So there'll be more hiking videos to come. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you down the trail.